So you clicked on this video because you have no idea how to block start and it's crunch time to your first meet. Good news, I know how to block start and I'm going to be sharing that information with you today. So grab your blocks and put your spikes on and let's get ready. Now that you got your blocks and your spikes on, let's show you how to set your blocks first. So to start out, you're going to set your block in the middle of your lane. It doesn't matter really how far it is away from the line, the start of the block. It just matters where the pedals are at. So you're going to set the block around a full step away from the line. It really doesn't have to be exact or anything. Then you're going to set your dominant foot forward first. So for me, that's my right foot. So I'm going to take my block, I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to count out 2 steps away from the line. And that's where my first block is going to go. The tip of my toe should just be hitting the block. And then for my second foot, which is my back foot, I'm going to take 3 steps away from the line and set my block to where my toe touches the block, which happens to already be there. I would recommend your first foot being on the lowest setting when it comes to the tilt of the block. So you want to set it on the lowest setting. And then your second block, I would either set at the same exact setting you have your first one at, or one click up when it comes to the tilt of the block.
You're going to take your first foot from the line. The heel of your foot is at the line. You're going to pick up your first block, so your first leg, your front leg. You're taking 2 steps. Your toe should just be touching where the block is at. So here we go. Taking your second leg, the one furthest back in the blocks, taking 3 steps from the line, and then putting the block where your toe meets. And then for your front leg, I would recommend putting the tilt at the bottom setting, and then the back leg should be 1 up from the bottom setting or at the bottom setting. So the same as your front block or 1 up from your front block. Then you're going to stomp in the spikes to the ground. Make sure it's in the center of your lane, looking on, and you should be all set.
Okay, so in order to get in the blocks, you always got to kind of get down. I would recommend doing your front foot in the block first. So you're going to do that. It should be not touching the ground, but at the bottom of the block. So your foot should be in the bottom of the block. And then your second foot should be about 1 inch from the bottom of the block. So slightly higher on the block than your first leg, but nothing too crazy. Then you're gonna lock your back knee into the blocks. So you're gonna kind of create some tension going into the blocks. And then you're gonna create more tension with your forward knee going into the blocks. I usually wipe my hand. Put your hand on the track about slightly more than shoulder width. And then your second about slightly more than shoulder width. And then you're gonna drop your shoulders a little bit. So as a recap, when you're getting into your blocks, you're putting your front foot first at the bottom of your block. Your toe shouldn't be touching the ground. It should be off of the ground and at the lowest part of the block. Then your second back foot goes 1 inch up off of the ground from your first foot. You're locking tension into your back leg and into your front leg, and then you are putting your hands a little more than shoulder width apart, dropping. This is your shoulders up, this is dropping your shoulders, leaning slightly over the line, not too much, not too little. And then in the set command, you are then bringing your butt up, and then you're taking 1 super powerful step outside the blocks and going once your first foot hits the ground. So in order to power out of the blocks, you're not popping straight up out of the blocks. You're getting forward momentum by driving out of the blocks rather than running out of the blocks. So you're driving out of the blocks and you're keeping forward momentum by not popping up out of the blocks straight up. You want to get into a drive phase and then eventually come up during your race. So now that you know how to get out of the blocks, now we need to teach you what to do after. So once you get out of the blocks, you're going to be taking as many forceful steps as possible while also keeping your motion going forward. You don't want to pop up once you get out of the blocks. You want to stay low. So instead of popping up like this, you're going to be trying to stay low, obviously it's gonna make more sense once I'm actually in motion, but you wanna stay low as long as possible getting into your drive phase. So I'm gonna show you how to do that right now. So as a recap of the video, we taught you how to set your blocks and then get into your blocks and how to drive out of your blocks. Some key things to remember. 2 to the first block, 3 to the second block. For your front foot, it's all the way down. For your back foot, it's all the way down or 1 up, whatever is your personal preference. When getting into the blocks, make sure that your feet are at the bottom and then 1 inch up from the ground. Also make sure you're locking tension into your legs when getting back into the blocks. Your hands should be shoulder width apart on the ground, dropping your shoulders, and then driving out of the blocks once the gun command has gone off. Thank you guys so much for watching. Drop any questions down below. Make sure to leave a like if you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.